What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Joe Bob's Bass here. Another Tackle Tuesday, week 2. So we're holding strong. This week we're talking about the new-ish Yamamoto Yamatanuki. This, I believe, came out last year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I fished it a ton this last summer when I was finally able to get my hands on it. That is, it took me a while to find it. I did finally find it down at Waypoint Angler. If you guys haven't checked them out for all your bass fishing needs, they are terrific. I mean, they've got everything that you could ever imagine, or you think that it's hard to find, and they've probably got it. So check out their website. I'll have it linked below. But this one is awesome, guys. I'm super excited to talk about it. Let's go over a couple different ways that I was rigging it, different things that you can try, or maybe that I'm going to plan to try this next summer here, and let's take a dive. All right, so there we have it again. Here is just the packaging. It looks a little different. I don't know if this is all the Yamamoto stuff now, or if this is just for certain baits. I know I've seen this on like the Nico worms that I've used before. But here's what it looks like out of the package, right? So it's kind of a scat bait. A lot of people, I think, would classify this as that. But it's got this tail on there, not a paddle tail, just a section that. It actually has a ton of action in the water. It's pretty crazy. You wouldn't think you could actually just swim this if you want. You're not going to get that much out of it, but it definitely kicks around some water, gets that lateral line going on those bass. And it's got hook guides kind of on both sides, which is actually really nice. So it kind of doesn't matter a whole lot how you rig it. So first off, this was actually the first way, believe it or not, that I rigged this bait. It was on a hook like this. I don't know what you call these. It's just essentially an extra wide gap hook with a spiral connector on there, right? So I would just take this top, spin it on there just like you would do a paddle tail or something else. Then the reason I would do this instead of a belly hook, we'll get into that in a sec, is just because I wanted to run it weightless. But so when I'm doing this, you see there, you're going to line up the back of that hook. That's where you want that hook to go in, right? So I'm just going to take that, kind of mark it with my thumb, turn that bait, put it right in that hook line, push straight through, and look at that. Every single time you're going to get that perfect setup. That's how it looks. This thing hammered them in the water, absolutely killed them just like this. The reason why I tried other things and why this was not my go-to after the first day or so is because this would just pull right, and I'm not going to do it right now, but this would just pull right off of that little spring twist lock-in bit there pretty quickly. I mean, maybe the first fish you catch, you might get a couple out of it before that is just kind of shredded. And you can bite a little bit off and try it again, but really it's just not lasting that many fish. So I tried it on just a little bit smaller hook, a 3/0 extra wide gap, and rigged that just like whatever, a Texas rig really. So you're just putting, I don't know, 1/2 centimeter or so through there, pop it in, pull that all the way up, and then that same thing with the hook. This is a smaller hook, so it's not going to go nearly as far back. It's going to be a little bit trickier to get on there. You want that as straight up and down as possible, and then poking through just like that. So again, this one's a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter. Still a great presentation, but I just noticed that you could just kind of push that back up there if you needed to. If that falls off from the fish or whatever, they're not ripping through that as easily as that kind of spring lock system that we saw. All right, and a couple other ones. So that was kind of the killer. That was the bait that I used fishing that just weightless a lot throughout the summer. I was throwing that on rock piles. I was throwing that up into reeds, up into weeds, under docks. It's super easy to skip. Just a really, really cool bait. Last little method, and this one's a little tricky just because this hook is huge for this bait right now, but just the Ned rig. Basically just stringing that on there straight up and down. Once you kind of meet itself, boom, just like that. And she will sit on there and flop that tail around right on the bottom. Works great as a Ned bait, but you do need a kind of a bigger hook. This is the smallest one. I think this is the 3.5 inch version. They have a bigger one, I believe, but I don't think they have a smaller one. So you do kind of need a bigger Ned rig hook, or at least something a little bit longer. It doesn't have to be this big. This was kind of extreme, but it was just one of the ones I had for an option right now. And then last but not least, and I don't even have it, but you could totally Nico rig this thing. If you put a nail weight here in the front, if you wanted something, you might restrict a little bit of that tail action. If you put something, you know, O-ring around here, but if you could just put one in the middle and have that hook running right into that gap, I think it'd make a pretty killer Nico rig, kind of just a variation on the Ned rig. So, well, there you have it, folks. There is the Yamatanuki by Gary Yamamoto. Check them out if you haven't. Super, super awesome bait. It's just a kind of a different form of a stick bait or a scat bait, whatever you want to vary it up a little bit. If you're just sick and tired of throwing a wacky worm, this thing is a lot more fun than throwing a wacky, just because of how it's a lot more dense. It's not sinking a whole lot faster, but it casts a lot farther, and it can skip, roll, get up there under the dock super easy, especially if you're rigging it like I just showed you with a 3/0, 4/0 extra wide gap hook, where that hook can be right in those divots and fully concealed. You're not gonna have any problem with hang-ups or anything, and all you're gonna do is catch fish. So check it out. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time here on Joe Bob's Bass. Happy Tackle Tuesday.